Hello and welcome to the Section 1.5 application walkthrough. Hopefully you're doing pretty well on this stuff right now. And now I'd love it if you didn't even need the application walkthroughs, but I found that when you're really having a hard time with things, it definitely helps. Okay. For the first two problems, you're just multiplying or dividing rational numbers, just looking at really just looking at fractions, and there's a whole number there, but for 1/3 times 1/3 times 1/3, sometimes it helps people just group up two to start. Go 1/3 times 1/3, and then once you figure out what that is, hopefully you're getting 1/9. Then multiply it by the last 1/3, and that'll be your answer. Okay, so make sure you're working through those one step at a time. In the next one, order of operations, we haven't really talked much about it. We will in the next section, but order of operations always say to do, multiplication and division in the same step. It's really hard when one thing is based on the other. So really you just want to group these two together, figure out what that is, and then multiply that by 4. And then you'll end up dividing by 1/2. Okay? So just take it step by step, work from left to right, and make your way through that problem. Okay. On the next section of problems here, we're looking at area. All right. All of the things that we're looking at are triangles, and the area of a triangle, if you don't remember, is 1/2 base. So 1/2 times the base times the height. So really you're just looking for two numbers, the base and the height, and those are the ones that you need. Okay? Not always are all numbers that you're given on a problem important. Okay, like this problem here, it's a right triangle. Most people would say when you're thinking about base, you're thinking about the bottom, right? So maybe that's your base. And a height is anything that's perpendicular to the base that goes to the other vertex of a triangle. So this line right here meets the base at a 90-degree angle. That's what this means. Okay? And it goes to the opposite vertex. That's the definition of a height of a triangle. So we can go ahead and use that. So that's our height. Okay, and if you don't know the two apostrophes there, that means inches. Okay, one apostrophe would mean feet, two means inches. So you're looking at area, so you're going to have an inches squared in your final answer on the first two. So if you look here on number 4, okay, this line down the middle, this dotted line here, is probably one of the most common ways that you're going to see height displayed on a picture. It's not an actual side of the triangle. It's a line that somebody thought, hey, maybe this would be helpful. Well, it is, because it is the height. Okay, and since it's a line that goes from the opposite vertex and meets another line of the triangle, the opposite side of the triangle at a 90-degree angle, that would make this the base. So you should go area equals 1/2 times 4 1/2 times 5 3/4. Okay, I know I switched those, but remember it is multiplication, and you can switch the order if you think that it's easier. I don't know that this is an easier way. It probably should be 5 3/4 and then 4 1/2 over here, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, and really what you'd want to do is multiply numbers by numbers and fractions by fractions, or you could turn things into improper fractions if you'd like to go that way. Okay, either way, not a big deal. Just make sure you get the problem done. Okay. Looking at the next two, very similar to the one that we just did. Okay, the vertical line that meets the base at a right angle is the height. So my height is right here. This is my base. Okay, same thing over here. Now you notice that this one doesn't actually touch the base. It touches the imaginary line of the base extended. That still makes it a height, and that's my base also. Okay, so hopefully you have enough tools now to get that application done. And if you have any questions, like always, feel free to ask me. And good luck on the Mastery Challenge. We'll see you next section.